What's going on, everybody? My name is Jason and welcome to my channel. For those of y'all that don't know, a couple weeks ago I bought this Torpado Italian road bike from the flea market. I paid $50 with the repair stand. I've already sold that repair stand for $30, so I'm in this for $20. So I figured today we'd actually take a look at this bike and kind of clean it up, and maybe we can go out for a spin, but I don't know if I want to. It's like 20 something degrees outside, but this bike I can already see, obviously we're going to need to replace these tires because these tires are rotten. The back hub just has a tiny bit of play in it. The bottom bracket actually has some play in it as well, so you're not supposed to be able to move these cranks side to side. The headset here is a little too tight because it's kind of what you call notchy, where the bearings are just too tight and it kind of pops into place like it is right now. And whenever you're riding and the handlebars are kind of notchy, it really ruins the ride. So we're going to go ahead and fix this because, quite frankly, I don't think there's very many miles on this. We do have some rust on the fork and the back of the frame here. So let's go ahead and kind of give this bike a little bit of a tune-up, put some new tires on it so that I can actually take this thing out for a test ride or to ride it. Unfortunately, this bike is one size too small for me. I need a 58 centimeter and this is a 56, but for 20 bucks, I just can't turn this down. These tires are actually 700 by 28 tires. However, the weird thing is, whenever I get my calipers here, let's turn it on, and I measure the tires, these are the thinnest 700 by 28 tires I've ever seen. It says 22.5, and naturally I'm thinking, oh, I must be misreading, and this is a 23C tire, but it quite clearly says 700 by 28 on the tire. I can see it on the front. And, oh no, there it is right there, 700 by 28. I've never seen 700 by 28 tires this small. We are going to be installing some 700 by 28 tires. I have some really nice CST recourse tires here. They are used. You know, I'm trying to keep this on the cheap. But 700 by 28 or 700 by 25 just rides so much better around here. And as long as this frame has the clearance, I think a larger tire is going to benefit this bike. So let's go ahead and get started on this bike by going ahead and taking some of these old accessories off. We're going to get rid of the water bottle cage and you know, check the bearings out and such. So now naturally everything on this bike is metric, so the water bottle cage is using a 4mm Allen key. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. And then we're going to take off what's left of this old computer. So let's see. Come on. A little squeaky. We're going to hold on to the bolts just in case I can't find anything that looks better for this bike. I have been doing this since 1994. So at this point that is 94. Wow. 32 years? No, 94, 2004, that's 10, 2014, 2024. I've been doing this for 32 years. I started out working at Six Flags in Texas. This is when my parents divorced and my mom took me and my brother and my sister to Texas to live, and went there for many years. Went to school there, and I, whenever it came to get a job, my mom always talked about the fun that she had working at Six Flags. So I wanted to enjoy that. So that's where I got my first job, was Six Flags in Texas. And there was a bike shop that was actually in town that me and my brother, we'd ride by it all the time. And honestly, we didn't go in there too often. In fact, I don't even know if my brother remembers that store. It was actually called the Bike Shop. Just the bike and then SHOPEE, Shoppy. And that store was run by a gentleman named Jerry DeBow. Really cool guy, very honest. He was actually mayor of Grand Prairie for several years. But that man, he'd give you the shirt off of his back. So it was a pleasure working for him. And but I'm not working for him yet. So I was working at Six Flags, and unfortunately I didn't do very good in school, and I had to go to summer school after I'd been working at Six Flags for 2 seasons. And I went up to my manager and I told him the situation, that I had to go to summer school. And my manager was like, hey, if you want to keep your job, you're going to have to forget summer school, and you're going to have to work here this summer. And it was my senior year. There was no way that they were going to make me go to school again. I never had to repeat a grade. Other than I did repeat a grade one time whenever we were in kindergarten. We were just a month too young, so they actually made us repeat school again. But I wasn't gonna. I wanted to graduate, so I started working at the bike shop, and the rest is pretty much history. I've been in the bike industry ever since. I've done some contract work for Amazon. Anytime somebody around here bought a bike from Amazon, they could actually pay to have a professional put it together for them. And I was one of the professionals. Now, interesting thing about Amazon, there's no training, there's no nothing. I started working at Amazon because we needed a little more income, and we were trying to diversify, I guess, come up with different ways of trying to help pay the bills. And all you had to do was go on Amazon and say, yes, I know how to do this. And they make you take a criminal background check, which I passed. And then you're a professional. Well, Amazon actually called me a few times because some of their other professionals messed up bikes. And I remember I had one lady call, whenever she was talking to me, she was like, now are you sure you know how to do this? Because this is already, the customer's already upset because one of the other guys messed it up. And I was like, you know, well, if you check the number that you're calling, this is a bicycle shop. And, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, she called my cell phone. So I told her that I worked, that I actually owned a bicycle shop, and I'd been doing it for 20 some odd years, and that seemed to appease her. But man, some of the things that I actually saw working at Amazon, I got some stories. That'll have to be later. All right, so we just took the old computer off. We took the water bottle mount, the aftermarket water bottle mount, and already this is looking so much better. We're going to go ahead and, should I pull the fork off, or you know what, we're going to pull the fork off because we're going to go ahead and overhaul this headset. So we're going to get a 6mm Allen key. We're going to break this free. Now, I haven't had an opportunity to try to show y'all, and it looks like I'm still not going to have an opportunity to show you. I've been waiting for a stem whenever I break it free to be stuck, and if you ever have one of these old quilled stems not want to break loose, what you do is with the bolt kind of backing off, you get a rubber or plastic mallet and just give it a tap, and it'll break free in a heartbeat. Okay, let's unhook the cable. Let's see if we can do this way. Come on. So close. Went back in. There we go. And it doesn't look like it's gonna come through that hole. That's disappointing. There's no slit. All right, we're gonna have to pull the cable through the housing. So it looks like that's gonna be a 10mm. Keep in mind, everything on this bike, I've already said it before, is metric. So we're gonna break this free up front. We're going to break this free in the back. I don't have much experience with these bikes. I'm used to Pinarellos and Coronagos. I really haven't seen very many of these bikes around here. But whenever I saw it, I really did fall in love with it, and I thought it'd be pretty cool in my collection. So we're gonna cut the end of the cable. I could probably pull the cable tip off, but quite frankly, we might be replacing the cables with some good stainless steel cables. Let's see. Okay. All right, we've got that undone. We can pull this cable out. Now this is original cable housing, which is pretty cool, but it's unlined, and I think I really wanted to keep this as original as possible, but I really think that a good new lined cable housing is going to be beneficial to the safety and the performance of this bike. So I do believe we're going to replace that. So stem is off, and there is some grease in there, which is good. Some people don't put grease on this, although the professionals, we do, because we know that whenever you're tightening this bolt down, that wedge, if it starts to bind up, it's going to feel like it's tight, and then you go for a ride and hit a couple of bumps, and then you hit a pothole and the handlebar moves on you. having the grease on this ensures that everything slides and tightens up good, and it really helps the safety of the bike and prevents rusting. Okay, so that really isn't that tight. That's interesting. It really felt tight earlier. So what we have is this headset is unfortunately it's probably going to be notchy. There's not going to be anything that we can do about that. What kind of headset is this? So we've got a OFMEGA of Mega. Let's check out the bearings. I hope they're not going to be loose ball bearings, because if they are, they're going to be falling everywhere. Nope, they are in cages, so we're good. The grease is it's really looks good. It's a little dirty, but the grease is still tacky. It's not dry. Where's my camera? First thing that we're going to do, since this bottom bracket has some play, we're going to remove both crank arms and we're going to go ahead and service the bottom bracket. Now, I'm not sure if this is using an English bottom bracket or if it's using an Italian bottom bracket, but I used a nickel to unscrew this little cap here. And then the next thing that we're going to do is I have a special tool that fits inside here. It's just a fancy little tool here made specifically for these cranks. It's from a company called Hosan, and let's see, looks like it's a 15, and we're just gonna break this free. Same thing on the other side. Let's see, that's lefty-loosey. Make sure that you get, there's a washer that's always seems to stick in there. Make sure you get that out, which is what we did. There, we've got a little more light. That's nice. We're going to loosen up this side. And then we've got a special crank puller. So let's go ahead and finish getting this crank bolt out, and then make sure that we get that washer as well. There we go. Let's see if your standard Park Tool crank puller threads into the arm. Looks like it. It's a little snug. Okay. Put a little oil on there. We're going to use an adjustable wrench. And we want to make sure that we thread it all the way in until it bottoms out. Unfortunately, I've threaded this into a couple of crank arms and without threading it all the way. thinking that, oh, it'll be fine, and then having the tool rip the threads out because it was such a tight fit. So we're gonna remove that. It's tight. Okay, remove the crank arm, remove the tool, and then repeat on the other side. We want to make sure that it's not going in crooked. See, that's trying to go in crooked. We don't want that. It needs to thread in good. Now I'll give the crank arm a spin and I'll see if it's wobbly. In this case, it's not. So tighten this up all the way. And then pull that crank arm. And then we're going to carefully remove the tool without scratching the crank arm. Okay, so I've got my park tool here. It's an HCW 13. It might not fit this, but it should, and it does. And if it's this one should turn clockwise. And so we're going to put this tool on here. And oh, that's not even tight. That's not tight at all. So we're going to go ahead and remove this, and we're going to see how the grease is. Huh. Actually feels pretty good. It's kind of a dark grease, but I don't think it's dirty. I just think it's pretty good. So let's go ahead and check the other side. Oh, it's just finger tight. It's no wonder that the bottom bracket was moving, or the crank arms were moving. So we're going to go ahead and use this HCW-4, and it's going to fit in the little holes here. And does it turn forward? It does. So this is not an Italian bottom bracket, like I was thinking it might be. It is an English style. So we're going to go ahead and just clean this, put some new grease in it, and put it back together. So there's no grease on the threads here, so we're going to take care of that. Alright, since this looks so good, I can see the grease. See, it's it's just a brown. It's just a dark color, and with a little bit of dirt on the outside there. So I'm kind of mixing it all in. We're just going to clean that off. I don't have to, I'm not going to worry about completely cleaning this. I'm just going to put some new grease in it and put it back together, and it will be fine. So, although I think I'm going to put some new bearings in here. Because it's been ridden apparently for a while loose. So let's find some new bearings, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to, there's a little plastic piece in here, and we're just going to temporarily remove it without breaking it if we can. It's a little tight. Yeah. Okay. So this helps keep dirt from getting into the bearings through the seat tube and such. We're going to put that aside. We're going to clean this out. Okay. We're going to get our park tool grease. We're going to put a generous amount on the threads. There we go. And I'm going to use a lighter grease on the bearings. And let me see, where did that bottom bracket go? Okay, so I'm going to be using a lighter grease right here. We're going to put this grease in the bearings. And we're going to do the same thing to this new bearing here. And this is a black grease. I prefer to use my clear grease, but I can't find it right now. I like the clear grease because whenever it starts getting dirty, you can see it. So, all right. So we've got the bearing in the cup here. I should have wiped the cup a little bit better. We're going to put a generous amount of grease on the threads. It's okay if we have a little bit of excess. Let's come on over here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and slide this sleeve back in. It's kind of a tight fit. Okay, we're going to thread this in. We want to go like we're loosening it, so I'm going to be turning it clockwise until I can feel the bearing, or the cup fall into the threads, and then we're going to now turn it counterclockwise, and we're going to go ahead and lock this side into place. This is what they call the fixed side. I'm going to move the camera. A little bit here, and we're going to make this good and snug without scratching the paint. Okay, we're going to get this all the way in place. And then we're going to get it good and tight. Okay. We're now going to install the axle, making sure that the bottom bracket axle or spindle is going the proper way, because there's a drive side and a non-drive side. We're going to make sure that we put some grease on the threads for this bottom bracket. We're going to thread this in, going the, we're going to go, let me see, in this case it's counterclockwise until we feel the thread kind of fall into place. Sometimes you'll hear a click. Come on. There we go. I felt it. I thought I felt it. Yeah, there it is. And we're going to carefully thread it in. Try not to touch the frame because there's sharp edges on the frame. You can cut yourself pretty good. We're going to get our bottom bracket tool here, and I want to be very careful not to hit the frame because it will scratch it very easily. And you keep tightening it until you feel it make contact with the bearing. So we're almost there. There we go. So you want to keep tightening it until you feel the bearing. And I want it to be a little too tight, just a little bit, so it's turning easily. So it is turning easily. I can hear the bearing just a little bit, but there's a couple of chunky spots. We're going to go ahead and install the lock ring, and hopefully whenever we install this lock ring, it's going to loosen up the bearing just a little bit. Come on. There we go. We're going to get our HCW 13, and we're going to lock this into place good and snug. Okay. Let's see. Snug, so the axle is spinning easier. Now, does it have play? We don't want it to have any play. Okay, that does spin quite nicely. We're going to clean our mess up and then install the crank arms. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean the inside of the crank arm real good. Put it on. We're going to get our other crank arm and clean the inside of that out. This is a square taper crank arm, and you do not want to have any grease on the inside of this. Now, some people are going to disagree, but I'm sorry. Square taper is a draw fit. If it's splined, that you want grease, but not a square taper with an aluminum crank arm. It will loosen up, and you can contact Campy, you can contact Shimano, and they will tell you, no, you do not want that. Okay. We're going to install these bolts. We're going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on the threads. We're going to put a little bit of grease underneath the head of the bolt. Helps prevent corrosion, and it allows you to tighten it up a little bit better. We're going to tighten this up. Where's my tool? And then we're going to find out what the torque spec is, because I cannot for the life of me remember what the torque spec was on a square taper crank arm. For some reason, I'm wanting to say it's somewhere around 250 inch-pounds, but let's find out real quick. What's the torque spec on a square taper aluminum crank arm bolt?
The recommended torque for a square taper aluminum crank arm bolt is typically between 35 and 50 Newton meters, which is about 26 to 37 foot-pounds. Always grease the threads and use an 8mm Allen key with a torque wrench. It's also a good idea to re-torque them after a few rides.
Okay, so more than what I was thinking. So we are going to tighten it to 40 Newton meters. We'll grab my torque wrench. 40 Newton meters. It's not what I was thinking, but AI is kind of handy, but they're not always right. But we're going to find out here in a second, because I'm going to get my torque wrench and we're going to tighten it, and I'll be able to tell by the feel. Let's see. I absolutely forgot. There's the chrome frame here. I want to get that chrome cleaned up before putting these cranks back on, so I'm glad I thought of that, although I started to tighten these crank arms up, and we don't want that. I don't need to screw this all the way in, because it's not on there very tight. Okay. So to clean the chrome right here, we're just going to get some steel wool right here. This is grade 0000, and we're going to go ahead and get this cleaned up. So check this out. Look at how nasty that looks. And all we're going to do is we're going to get some of this steel wool and we're going to just wipe it. And look at how it cleans up so quickly. So be sure not to hit the paint. Look at that. It's absolutely beautiful. We're going to put a little bit of a wet Teflon lube on there. That'll leave a protective coat on the steel. All right. Now that that's clean, let's get those cranks put on. Okay, so we're going to reinstall the crank. We're going to re-wipe the inside of the crank arm because we do want it to be nice and clean. We're going to put a little bit more blue Loctite on the threads. Thread that in. And then we're going to thread the other side in. And we're going to tighten it to 40 Newton meters. Okay, right there. And there we go. We're going to install the caps. I'm using a quarter. There we go. Looking good. And no play. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to pull this front brake off just so that we can get access to the chrome easier. So we're going to just pull this off and we're just going to get our steel wool, our fine grit steel wool, and I mean, look at all that rust. And This steel wool just takes it off. It does not scratch it. Now, regular steel wool, if you use a more coarse grit steel wool, it will scratch the chrome. And that's not good. So we're just going to kind of polish this up. And I want to be careful with the paint that's on here. I'm just going to go up to the paint and I'm going to stop. And I want you to look at the difference between the two sides. So we're just going to do one side first. And I'm not doing a time lapse. This is something that just about anybody can do, at least whenever it comes to this bad of a rust job, which is not bad. It's just a light dusting of rust. I think I might get a new thing of steel wool. This is kind of coming apart. I've got packs of this stuff. Much better. All right, guys. Now, tell me what you think. I'm going to get my camera, my other camera, and we're going to compare. And I don't know if you can see, and look at that beautiful chrome compared to this side. Let's get my camera. It's a pretty big difference, and we're not done yet. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of get into the crevices here. Okay, now let's do the other side. How? Okay. So much better. All right. So we are going to get our headset put back together. Oh, actually, it's the bearings have plenty of grease, and it's actually good grease, so we don't need to bother cleaning that up. We got a little bit of rust on the headset here, so we're just going to get this steel wool, and that cup there is very dull. There's rust all over it. We're just going to get our steel wool here, just give it a little polish. And this stuff is like magic. It's getting all nice and shiny again. Look at that. I'm sorry. I wish I had the camera at a different angle. But this is absolutely turning out beautiful. I use my fingernails to kind of push the steel wool into the crevices and just give it a little polish. I keep an eye on things. I see a little bit of rust right there. I hit it. It's gone. All right. Beautiful. Oh, I see some more rust on that side. Okay, a little bit of rust there. Final inspection. Beautiful. All right, paper towel. Now we'll use this. I might have gotten some steel wool in the sticky grease that's in there, so I'm just going to kind of wipe it out. We've got this lock ring. We're going to give it a polish. Doesn't take much time. Now, if this bike was in worse shape, if the rust was deeper, then it would be bad. I'm not doing a full restoration on this. I'm just cleaning this thing up. It doesn't need a full restoration. And it's also, some bikes are worth more than others. And this bike is very nice. It's not worth a lot of money, but it's very nice. I'm going to get my grease, my new grease, and I'm putting it on top of the older but good grease. This is not a high dollar, super duper high end, expensive bike. Now, if this was a different bike, like let's say an old, Cinelli, I would probably be a lot more picky about it. This is for me. Now, if somebody was paying me to do this, oh yeah, I would be extremely picky. But this is just for me, and there's nothing wrong with the grease. It's in fine shape. I'm just adding a little bit. If it was dirty, I'd be cleaning it up. Okay. Let's get this put back on. Did I miss a little bit of rust right here? I did. Just a little bit. It's gone now. I'll keep on spotting bits and pieces here and there, I'm sure. Okay, we're putting our headset back together. What we're doing is I put the bearing in. I'm tightening that bottom cup until it's back to the ratcheting part where I can feel the bearing. I can feel it notching just a little bit. I'm tightening the top one just a little bit, and then I'm going to back off on the bottom one, and what that does is it locks it all together. And okay, that's a little too smooth. I'm going to tighten that bottom one down again. I'm going to tighten this top nut just a little bit, and then I'm going to back off on the bottom one. And I'm feeling for some play. I'm not feeling any play. I'm also not feeling any notching. So now I'm going to get 2 of my wrenches here, 232s, 32 millimeter, and I'm going to tighten that top nut. And that's good. All right. The brake, while it's off and I can get to the pivots, I'm going to go ahead and oil the pivots here. It's good to lubricate those every once in a while. And you don't want to squeeze the brake all the way. I've had people that have had these brakes out of, or the wheel out, and they just start squeezing the brake all the way until the spring reaches its breaking point. And I've seen people just playing with their brakes, and all of a sudden, ping! And some of these brakes, good luck on finding a good replacement spring. All right, so we're going to put a little bit of grease on the threads. And then we're going to reinstall the brake using a 5 millimeter Allen key. And then we're going to, what are we going to be doing next? Okay. I am feeling a little bit too much play in the brake, so I'm going to adjust it. So we're going to make this brake adjustment, get rid of the play. And there are different brakes and different ways of getting rid of play. And on this brake, the bolt goes through the spring plate, spring holder, and then so what's happened is it just backed off, and I'm just tightening it up a little bit. So I'm sorry, I can't really show that on camera. And if I did show it to you on this, if you're trying to apply it to another brake, it won't work for you. So, sorry guys. Okay. All right, guys. Wheels. front bearing feels great. It doesn't feel dry. There's a tiny bit of play in this, but there was no play in it whenever it was locked down. So we're just going to get some wrenches. Let's see, this is probably a 16. Yes, it is. We're going to get two 16 millimeters, and we're just going to check to make sure that the bearings or the lock nuts are locked into place. And we're just going to give it a little oomph. Okay, yeah, it's tight. They're locked down. Front wheel is good. Let's take this rotten tire off and put in a new tire, or a better tire and tube. Alright, so I've let the air out. I'm going to get my tire lever. I'm going to hook it under the tire. I'm going to pry it up. On these tire levers, there's a little hook on the other end. See if I can. There's a hook on the end. That hook, you can actually hook it onto the spoke, and then that frees up your hand so that you can get another tire lever if you need to. So I'm pushing the tire towards the center of the rim, and that loosens it up. I'm going to hook it, and I'm just going to slide. We're going to pull this tire off. I'm kind of pulling the tire to the center of the rim. The center of the rim is the loosest. And then I should be able to just pull up on the tire, no tools required, and just pull the tire off. We're going to wipe the inside of the rim. Make sure the rim strip is in place. We're going to get our newer 700 by 28 tire. Install one side of the tire onto the rim. Make sure the tire is towards the center of the rim. And then I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to use a tire lever because this is kind of tight. Tighter than the other tire. There we go. We're going to start to put the other side on, being careful not to pinch the tube. I was being very careful not to pinch the tube earlier. Okay. And then be careful not to pinch the tube. It's very easy to do if you're not paying attention. All right. Okay, so we're going to air this up, and we're going to remeasure the tire because those older tires that are on that one only measure to a 22.5. Boy, this tire's tight. Okay, so we're going to measure this. We're zeroing this out. We're going to put it onto the tire, and it says 22.7 on there. We're going to measure this, and the width of this tire is 24.5. So it's 2 millimeters wider. Okay, well, it's not measuring 28 millimeters, and I'm not surprised, but let's make sure that this fits in the fork, which it does. Lock it down. Those tires are going to work. Yay. Now, this back hub had a little bit of play in there. So, with it on the bike. So we're going to get my 17s and a 15 millimeter cone wrench, and we're going to break this non-drive side loose. We're going to tighten the inner cone, and then we're going to lock the outer nut back down. So, inner cone, outer nut, break it free. We're going to tighten both of them just a little bit. And then we're going to lock this outer one down. I'm not going to lock it down all the way. I'm looking for a tiny bit of play. Okay. There's a little bit of play. I want to lock this outer nut down more. Good and tight. And there's still play. I don't know if you can hear that. But once we put it in the bike, that play should disappear. Let's put this new tire on. Okay. Now what I showed you how to take the tire off on the other one. What I like to do is I'll put this tire lever on. I'll pry the tire off, push the tire towards the center of the rim. I'll push my thumb down on the bead and just slide it. Go to the center of the rim. Oh, and by the way, I already spun the wheels on this bike. These wheels spin so straight. Whoever had this bike did a great job keeping these wheels straight. Normally I'd be truing these wheels. However, I don't need to. Alright, this rim strip is no good. There are splits inside the rim strip here, so that's going to cause a flat, and we don't want that. I have new rim tape in this wheel. Come on. Apparently I didn't make the valve hole big enough. Okay, so interestingly, I forgot I said this was a 700 by 28. These tires are actually 700 by 25. So these 700 by 25s are actually wider than the 700 by 28 that I took off of this. Those were some really small 28s. Okay, we're putting the other half of the tire on, pushing the valve up towards the center to make sure that that's all the way in. We don't want the tire to be on top of the tube anywhere. That can cause some problems. It can cause a bulge in the tire, it can cause a flat, so just be careful. Being careful not to pinch the tube. Tube is right there. We want to kind of push it up in there as far as we can. Okay. Now, I am a firm believer in these pie plates. They keep the chain from going in between the gears and the tube, but it really messes up the look of the bike. So we're actually going to pull this one off. So this one uses an old mallard freewheel tool. I'll see if I can find that here shortly. Here it is. It's an old mallard. Oh wow, that's an old Phil Wood tool. That's cool, I've never seen that before. I've had this for how long? I didn't see Phil on there. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we need to kind of tap it in here. Where'd that wheel go? So I've got to remove the skewer nut here. We're going to insert the tool. We're going to get my impact gun, make sure it's going the proper direction, backwards. Sorry, headphone users. That is coming off. I'm going to save it because it's collectible. And we're going to put this back on. Where'd my grease go? There it is. Okay. We're going to reinstall the freewheel. We don't need to tighten it because whenever we start pedaling, it'll tighten it. But that looks so much better. However, if that chain goes too far over, I'm going to be wishing I had that pie plate on there. Does the tire fit? Yes, it does. Alright, so now we get to see. Okay, so light, whenever I just have the skewer tightened down lightly, there's a little bit of play in this. And whenever I lock it down tighter, not that tight, let's back it off a bit. Okay, so light, there's play. Whenever I lock it down, there's no play. Okay. Beautiful. So I am going to get my 6mm Allen. We're going to go ahead and grease this bolt here. Grease the threads because it's kind of dry. We're going to put some grease under the head of the bolt. Makes it where we can tighten it better. And again, prevents corrosion. If you don't believe in the fact that it's beneficial to tighten it down, just keep in mind that it's good for anti-corrosion as well. We're going to put some grease on the wedge surface. That allows that wedge to really get good and locked down. Thread this back in. We're going to put some grease inside the steer tube. We're going to put plenty of grease on here. Now I'm going to put this stem up as high as I can because I'm getting older and I want comfort. We're going to slide this in and kind of tighten it enough, just enough to stay in place. And then I have my really cool new toy. It clamps onto the handlebars and I turn it on and it's got a laser light that helps me get this good and straight. And I'm telling you right now, it works wonderfully. So close. Absolutely amazing. I'm not having to work real hard, squinting my eyes. It just does a perfect laser line. It's great. Well worth the small amount of money I paid for it. Okay, so we're going to loosen up the bolt here, the holding the handlebars, because we need to rotate them up, but we're going to go ahead and grease it. Because that grease is old and kind of skimpy. We're going to add some more new grease. I don't need to clean it. This grease is pretty clean. It's just getting a little dry. Okay, let's rotate the handlebars up a little bit. Tighten it down. We may readjust it later on. We're not going to make this really tight. We're just going to make it snug. Okay, so do we go with new white brake cable housing? Part of me wants to leave the original on there, but part of me loves the feel of the newer brake housing. It works so much better. Let's worry about that in a minute. The brake levers are missing the hoods. I think now is a good time to replace the hoods and move the levers themselves into a more comfortable position. They're kind of low on the handlebar. So we're just going to go ahead and take this off. Just for kicks, I want to see I've got these Cane Creek replacement hoods. They're used for die comp and such. So it's a rubber hood that just makes the lever more comfortable. Now, I need to spray some Windex. You kind of have to spray some Windex on here to help slide it on. Okay. And we'll see if this even fits. So I'm spraying the inside of this with Windex. I'm spraying the brake itself with Windex. And then we're going to try to slide it on. It's a tight fit. And I'll say that that fits pretty good. Does it need it? No, because this plastic actually doesn't feel too bad, but I just think that it's going to add a little bit more grip, and it's going to add some more comfort to it. So let's finish removing this. And let's remove this other one. the other side of the handlebar tape. We're going to pull the brake cable out, because I guess we're just going to put a new one on. Okay. Put this down on the ground, and do we want to rotate the handlebars up a little bit more? I think so. Did I grab the wrong size? I did. Okay. Okay. Kind of go in between, I think right there. We're gonna snug the handlebar in place. We're gonna get our ruler, and we're gonna see if we can reposition those brake levers higher up, which I do believe they're way too low if they are. Typically, from what I've always been taught, is you basically position the brake lever, or if you put a ruler here on the flat part here, the blade of the brake lever, you want it to be the same level as the handlebar. So you want to use a pretty straight ruler. And it's plastic, so we just want to make it snug. We don't want to make it tight. It's just going to break it. Loosen the lever. Raise it up. Let's move that blade out. Yeah, that's pretty good. Windex, Windex. And we're going to just get it on there. That is tough. Okay, looking pretty good. All right, let's grab the brake cable housing. All right, so this old housing was a pretty good size. So I'm pulling it off, and I'm going to get my new housing. We're going to cut it the same length. I just want to get my handy dandy Shimano cable cutters. And then we're going to cut it to the same length. And this is a pre-lubricated cable. I don't really care for how... I don't care for white, but this bike kind of screams for some white housing. All right, we're going to get our cable. We've got two very nice stainless steel slick cables that should make the brakes work really good. Come on. Come on. There's one. Wouldn't surprise me if I have to put new brake levers on here, because I'm a little worried about these plastic brake levers. Not a big fan. Okay. Putting a ferrule on there. That's the little silver end cap. Kind of cleans it up, helps keep things together. And then we're gonna put another one here on the end. Okay. Tighten the cable, close the brake, and then we're going to lightly tighten it and stretch the cable. Just like that. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. We're going to go ahead and finish tightening this up. We're going to trim the cable. fix any fraying. We're going to put our cable tip on there. And then move to the front. Alright, so we've got our front cable housing. We're putting our ferrule on that. We're sliding this on. Putting on the bottom ferrule. Installing it. Same thing, pulling the cable, squeezing the brake. We're going to tighten this up. Did I do something wrong? No, doesn't look like it. I think that just might have slipped. Try this again. I think it slipped again. That or something's not working right. Okay. Snug that down. Cut the cable. And then we're going to cap it. After we unfray this, beautiful. You can wrap this different ways, and we're doing it this way just because that's the most common. Wish I had my handlebar holder. Oh well. It would make life easier if I had my... There's a tool that I've got that holds the handlebar in place, keeps it from moving. Here's the fun part, getting it kind of underneath. The boot, normally you can peel the boot up, but this boot is so stiff that I can't seem to peel it up. So, because this boot is not fitting the lever very good. Good enough, but try to keep it all the way even all the way around. Boy, this is not my best work. I really wish I had that other tool. It's around here somewhere. But the camera's going. And if you think about this too much, it's guaranteed not to look good. Okay. Okay. There is one side. I like to go around like 4 or 5 times, not pulling the electrical tape very tight, because all it's going to do is start to unravel, and it's going to leave that nasty goo all over the place. Yeah. Okay. Let's turn around and do the other side. Let's do this again. For this side, I now have my handlebar holder. Doing that to the handlebar. Let me see. You want the handlebar tape to kind of overlap the edge, so whenever you put the plug in, it kind of is nice and flush. Again, don't think too hard about the handlebar tape. The longer you think about it, the worse it's going to look, unless you really wanted to get anal about it. And I can, because I can make it look perfect. But yeah, you're gonna be too afraid to ride your bike, that you're gonna mess up your handlebar tape. Come on. Didn't quite get it right. There we go. There we go. Cut the tape at an angle, and I'm trying to get it to the edge right there. And it's a little crooked, but it's good. It's my bike. I'm not selling it. Nobody's paying me. I'm sure the first time I go for a ride, I'll probably dump it, tear up the tape. Two, three, 4, 5. Okay. We're going to put our little chrome end cap here. There we go. We've got some nice chrome water bottle bolts that we're going to install here. And then we're going to give the bike a final wipe down. It would have been much better if we wiped it down when we were had it more apart, but oh well. I'm not trying to make this bike perfect. I'm just trying to clean it up and make it look great. Make it look like a survivor, like it is, that it is. And then maybe take it out for a test ride, but it's like 20 degrees outside. I don't want to go out for a bike ride, a road ride, when it's 20 degrees. Okay. Alright, so we're going to be doing some more stuff to this bike, but the big thing was just kind of making it look better. We're going to clean it up more. This is like a multi-stage thing where we do a bit of cleaning, do some more cleaning, and before we finally get it done. So I am going to be spraying some of this detailer on the bike. We're going to wipe it down. Has a nice smell to it. Leaves a little bit of a protective coat to keep the paint looking good. Keep it looking good. Great looking bike. But we have absolutely run out of time on this video because I'm supposed to have it out today, and it's not done yet, so I'm sorry guys, it's going to be a little late. But when the sun comes out, maybe I'll have some nice B-rolls of it in the sunlight. All right. Well, guys, I'm still got a ways to go, but we've got the bottom bracket serviced, we've got the headset serviced. The hubs seem to be pretty good. We've got new cables on here. Still have to kind of clean up some things with like the crank and such. The pedals need to be serviced. We're taking the toe clips off. I know that it screams toe clips, but I'm going to be riding this bike some, and I don't like toe clips. So if y'all enjoyed the video, please leave me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to tell your friends. Check out some of the other videos on the corner of the screen. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks.